ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Fight 4, the Federation of Grapplers, Hybrids, and Technicians. I'm none other than Mike Valentine, joined here today with Jason Heat.
I am very excited, Mike. This is Fight 4 and an 8-man tournament to determine the first ever Fight Championship.
That's right. We've been a little bit on hiatus here. We've never actually had a Fight Champion before, and we decided now is the time to not only come back, but crown that first champion. This opening round right now, we see Pat Anthony, or as he likes to call himself, hashtag Pat Anthony, coming out here. Very skilled wrestler here. Not somebody you would exactly expect, especially with the way that he likes to wear his clothes. As you can see, the emojis and everything, but he's somebody to definitely be keeping an eye out on.
All 8 of these competitors have something to prove. That's the thing that I enjoy most about Fight, is that this promotion brings men and women from around the world who have something that they need to prove to themselves, something that they need to prove to the people, and something that need to prove to the sport. And very few people embody that, like the man we're seeing right now, Diaz.
Yes, Diaz. Last time we saw him, he was teamed up with, at the time, Skull, today Sickened, part of the Riot City, part of Forsaken. You can actually see from here, he's finally come into his own. He's his own man, and he has this really strong lucha style. And we'll be seeing a lot of that in this whole first round. The way that this tournament has been separated is the 3 rounds. The first rounds will be all under hybrid ruling. The rules behind that, real quick, Jason. The matches will have a 10-minute time limit. Everything else is pretty much about the same. It's going to be pinfalls, countouts, submissions, disqualifications. But with that 10-minute time limit, you better believe that's in the back of everyone's mind on exactly how fast they need to put away their opponent. And on top of that, just to encourage the fast pace that we have here in all of Fight, there's only a 5 count to the floor.
Let's talk a little bit about what it's like to go first in an 8-man tournament.
The following contest is our first round for the Fight Championship Tournament. This contest is a high flyer showcase scheduled for 1 fall. The match will have a 10-minute time limit. Ringouts are at a count of 5. If you leave the ring for more than 5 seconds, you will be disqualified.
Going first in an 8-man tournament like this, positives and negatives. Positive, obviously, by going first, you have the most amount of time to recuperate afterwards. You have time to strategize. Negative is that you're the first people that everybody else in the back gets to see and get to prepare for and see your styles, and the possibility of you getting injured early on in the night.
Very true, actually. Also, I can only imagine what it feels like to be in a situation like this. You're the first one out there. You have to prove a point to everybody backstage. You need to show them that you are the person that they need to fear the most in this entire tournament.
So far, evenly matched. No one's really hit a strike yet. They seem to just be testing each other's speed and agility out, seeing what each man has to offer in between the ropes. Disrespect by Pat Anthony towards Diaz. I don't think that Diaz is going to take that standing.
Oh, no. Slap straight to the face. Nice arm drag, and Diaz immediately to the floor, breaking some distance.
He only has a certain amount of time that he can be out there, though, so he doesn't really get a chance to use this to recover, to get his head in the game. He has just enough time to step outside, and then he has to get back in the ring. Gets right in before the count of 5, but
breaks the count. Very wise. And Pat Anthony out of nowhere from the top to the floor.
It looks like he didn't catch all of it, but enough to knock Diaz to the ground, put him back in the ring.
And Pat Anthony taking... What is Pat Anthony doing? He is taking way too much time to talk to the front row.
Well, looks like Pat Anthony has something to prove, but maybe not to the right people. Focusing too much on the crowd and not necessarily on his opponent. Looks like Diaz is going up. Slingshot corkscrews Pescada.
And Diaz getting the crowd behind him. You can see him revving himself up as well, throwing Pat Anthony back into the ring. making sure that he gets him in there before 5. Quick cover.
First fall, or first count of the contest, and obviously in a 10-minute time limit, it's important to put your opponent away as quickly as possible. As the longer the clock goes, the more pressure you are going to feel and the less you're going to be able to focus. Ooh, right to the small of the back forearm, followed up by a hard STO going down.
Goes for the cover, hooks the leg. Diaz barely kicking out there if you noticed it too. That STO may have taken a lot more out of him than we thought.
Pat Anthony seems to feel that he is trending worldwide right now. According to his t-shirt, I have to say I doubt the validity of that statement. It makes me feel that perhaps Pat Anthony is not a man to be trusted.
Pat Anthony in complete control right now. Looks like going for the suplex.
But it's reversed, go behind, and another slap to the face. It looks like Diaz has not forgotten the way that this match started.
Oh, the strength of Pat Anthony blocking that Hurricanrana attempt.
And, oh, right down on his shoulders.
Gut wrench. The ref was not in proper position there.
No, if I was Pat Anthony, I'd be pretty upset right now. That's a definite possible 3 count, but
able to reverse that, though, into this submission predicament.
Sort of
like
a
Boston Crab, it looks like.
Variation on it. I always feel like hooking the legs in front instead of underneath causes not as much torque on the body, though.
Oh.
And Zaguri right to the back of the head. Pat Anthony is down. Looks like he's trying to process what just happened. He doesn't have that kind of time. Diaz going for a tornado DDT off the ropes. Pat Anthony already on his knees, and another DDT. There's only so much impact a cranium can take before it snaps.
I think we saw the timer up there. We're at about 6:25 right now. Still plenty of time for this match to go in either direction.
Trying to put him out.
Pat Anthony down to his knees. He's in the center of the ring.
Again, not even an intentional DDT, but he still knocks him right on the top of his head. Pat Anthony has taken a lot of abuse.
I think he may have knocked him out. Ref's checking him.
His eyes are glassy. He does not look good.
This doesn't look good for Pat.
Oh, and he is.
And
yeah.
That's it for Pat Anthony.
That's what happens. He took 3 hard shots right to the head down on the canvas and just got knocked on Dream Street and couldn't wake up.
It can happen to anybody, really, taking nothing away from Pat Anthony. I mean, 3 hard shots to the head. You get knocked out, you get knocked out.
No, but a strong start for Diaz, who's setting out as his own man with a solid, dominating win.
Here is your winner by
knockout. If I was the other men in this competition, I would now be very worried about the arsenal of DDTs that Diaz has to offer. He seems to hit him out of nowhere, and they obviously have enough impact to knock a man out. I am excited for this one. In our second round, we have the Man Scout, Jake Manning, going up against what I have to say is a hot prospect in Tanner Reynolds, but I'm going to make my partisanship known. Any man who rocks this kind of mustache has a fan in Jason Heat.
So you're all about the mustache.
I just think that there's a certain stigma against the mustache, and if you're able to rock the high-waisted shorts and the mustache and feel comfortable with yourself and be able to beat another man down in the center of the ring, you must have true confidence, and I respect that. I respect the Man Scout.
I can get behind what you're saying there, but I'll honestly would have to go with the idea of anybody who's willing to come out as the Man Scout and just, try to help people out on his day-to-day basis and anything along those lines. I'm behind that.
Yeah, no, I think the only negative thing about the Man Scout Jake Manning is that John Cougar Mellencamp is terrible. And but the fact of the matter is his taste in music has no bearing on his skill as a wrestler, and his skill as a wrestler is phenomenal. He does have an impressive challenge against him as he goes up against Tanner Reynolds.
Speaking of Tanner Reynolds, he is making his way to the ring now. And you can see just the confidence that he just exudes here. Oh, that is a huge guy down there.
Now, I've been told, having talked to Tanner in the back earlier, I asked him who this massive mountain of a man who was that was accompanying him, and I was told that if you're with Tanner Reynolds is the only name you need to know, and he is to be referred only as the Help. So I think that tells you everything about Tanner Reynolds you need to know.
So Tanner Reynolds and the Help.
Tanner Reynolds and his hired help.
Wow, that guy is huge. And to be honest, I'm going to look at this right now and say Tanner Reynolds is somebody that you definitely need to be paying attention to, not just because he's one of the premier athletes that are in here currently, but the fact that you have that unknown object outside of the match as well. What do you think is going through Jake Manning's mind right now? Thinking to himself, first, I already have to deal with Tanner Reynolds, but now I have to deal with this unknown variable on the outside.
Well, the fact of the matter is, Jake Manning is a man scout. He's not even a boy scout. His motto is be prepared, and I have to imagine that in that book, he has 5 plans already in place for the help. Now, I'm not sure what it is, and I'm not sure what merit badge there's out there for this, but dealing with outside interference, clearly had to be something that Jake Manning got a scout badge in way back in the day.
Scheduled for one fall. Introducing first, weighing in tonight at 225 pounds, he is the Man Scout, Jake Manning. And his opponent, from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, weighing in at 210 pounds, he is America's most hated, Tanner Reynolds.
America's most hated Tanner Reynolds, and you can already tell the fans are not behind him in this one.
I have to tell you, I had the opportunity to see Jake Manning once participate in a War Games match, a brutal style of match popularized in the 80s and early 90s of the NWA and WCW. Hasn't been around for a very long time. Jake fielded a team. It was brutal, and he can be a brutal competitor. So Tanner Reynolds has to be ready to fight with viciousness and intensity, which I don't think he's not willing to do that, but he better be ready and prepared because looks are deceiving with Jake Manning.
Jake Manning, definitely. I can tell you this right now, though. This is an interesting strategy. There is a 10-minute time limit, as you can see from that counter back there. Jake Manning is looking to extend his hand in friendship right now.
Yeah, well,
I kind of see exactly where he's going with all of this as well.
Well, I mean, look, when you spend time in the woods like Jake Manning does, sometimes you encounter some poison ivy, and I think that he just had to deal with some of the side effects of being a Man Scout.
Tanner Reynolds looks like he's accepting the handshake, but I'm not 100% too sure he understands the situation he's in right now.
Yeah. Tanner Reynolds may want to wash his hands. Oh.
And now it's in his face.
That's what you learn around the campfire. Drop toe hold, and Jake Manning is going. Riding Tanner Reynolds, and America's most hated cannot be thrilled right now with getting the old slap on the butt. I have to be honest with you, I think that is no longer allowed in the Scouts, but Jake hasn't been a Boy Scout for a while. We'll let it go.
Jake Manning in complete control right now, and obviously part of his strategy is embarrassing Tanner Reynolds, which you can only assume means that he's just trying to get him off his game, trying to make him angry just so he can make a mistake.
I also think that Jake Manning felt disrespected. He offered out his hand, a sign of respect between two sportsmen, and he's aware of the fact that Tanner Reynolds brought out a bruiser with him. There's no good intentions bringing out a man like that, and I think that, wow, really powerful chop. But I think that Jake Manning knows what he's getting into.
Tanner Reynolds able to take control of this contest right now, keeping Jake Manning into the corner.
Now, the fact that Tanner Reynolds isn't as known does not mean he won't be known. He has a tremendous upside because this is a man who's got an attitude. He's got an ego, and egos need fuel, and you fuel egos by winning. And so I have to imagine there's something about his psychology that will not let him lose. And that's a dangerous, dangerous place to be.
When this tournament was first announced, Tanner Reynolds was actually the first name that came out with it. The fight management decided that he was somebody who they just saw a lot of potential in him. I actually don't like where this is going right now.
And the help is earning his name. I think this goes against a lot of the values of fight, which is individuals who have something to prove.
Jake Manning looks like he's trying to tie
him up. That was merit badge 34. not tying on the ropes. Take a bow.
Seems to be working pretty well. I mean, the help can't even get him out. The ref can't get him out.
I mean, honestly,
going back to the old rule books.
double checking. I mean, it's always useful to refresh and see exactly what the situation calls for. Preparation breeds devastation.
Jake Manning off the ropes.
Oh, solid sliding drop kick right into the back of Tanner Reynolds, who also knocks down the help. I have to imagine that just docked him some pay.
Tanner Reynolds not in a position he wants to be in right now, and neither is either Jake Manning. They both need to get back into the ring as fast as possible. There's only a 5 count on the floor.
No, and to be perfectly honest, at almost 4+ minutes into this particular contest, neither man has established a tremendous amount of punishment on the other. I don't think either of them are worn down enough to get a pinfall at this point. Stiff forearm to the head, though, as Jake Manning is starting to more aggressively seek to end this contest. Kick right in between the eyes. And Tanner Reynolds slams Jake's head down onto the hard ring mat.
Tanner Reynolds staying on his opponent, which is great. Choking him out, though, he does need to be careful. He cannot afford to be disqualified. It's a tournament match.
Now, he does have till 5, Mike.
Going for a very interesting pinning predicament there, but Jake Manning able to kick out at 1.
Trying to wrap up his arms to give him less leverage to get out of it, which is smart.
5 minutes on the clock now, about the halfway point.
I mean, I think the thing about this particular match is that these are both, in very different ways, very smart competitors. These are people who have specific styles and game plans, and they are sticking to them. And it's just going to see who gets a chance to put in plan their particular end game sooner. Sunset flip, but can't quite get it.
The knee to his face. Definitely knocking him there a little bit. Going for the cover, kicks out at 1. We haven't had a 2 fall count.
No, not yet. Tanner's trying to wear him down right now, rubbing that forearm through the face. I mean, what makes that effective is just the fact that the more pain you're in, the more distracted you are, the less likely you are to be able to process the information of a pinfall as quickly. Another knee right to the head. It looks like Tanner has decided to target the back, neck, and the base of the head of Jake Manning.
I do like how every single cover that Tanner Reynolds goes for, though, is a legitimate deep hook cover. He's actually trying to win this contest right now, or at least have Jake Manning exert as much energy as possible to get out of these pinfall predicaments.
Absolutely. In a 10-minute time limit match, wearing your opponent out becomes even more important than a contest with a longer time limit or no time limit. It's not just about beating them into submission. It's about making sure that any fall you get counts more because of the exhaustion and the physical weakness of your opponent.
Big back body drop.
Yeah, Tanner kind of took a little too much time with that. You can tell he's starting to get tired. Strike's looking a little weaker, and Jake is starting to come back with harder and harder hits. If Tanner is going to win this match, he needs to outthink Jake Manning, not outpower Jake Manning.
Nice combination there. Deep cover. Kick out at 2. We are close to about a 2-minute warning now left in this match.
Now, if neither man wins, does there go to a bye for the person in the bracket next to them?
For this tournament, yes, there will be a bye, so that would actually go to Diaz if neither one of these can make it through.
So if I'm Diaz, I'm hoping very much that this does go to some kind of time limit draw. And there is the help, smashing a back up against that turnbuckle and pouring Jake Manning back in like a puddle of Man Scout. Nice bridge.
And Tanner able to get the win with the help of the help. Not exactly how we would expect one of our first round matchups to end either.
Here is
Tanner
your
Reynolds
winner,
doing whatever he can just to get that contest under his belt.
Reynolds.
I said Tanner Reynolds wanted to win, and I meant it. I didn't say he cared how.